Okay, we should be live any second now. Might take a few seconds to come up for some of you. Lower the fan on the AC so it's not all loud. Whee! Welcome everybody. What's going on? Trying to get a nice angle here. So this is a very informal chat, not even at my workbench. I'm sitting at the desk here. Got my laptop ready to roll. Glass of water. We could chit chat a little bit. And let me just make sure everybody is here. Hey, welcome. Looks like some of you are here for the first time live. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. All right. So I got that ready for when I need it. Don't be distracted by the big screen back there. You want a scar close-up? It's really not that great to look at, I'll tell you that much. You have to forgive me. I went to the gym, ate something, and came here, so I've got my sweet short shorts on, if anybody wants to see those. Want to see some sweet Italian hairy legs? You come to the right place, my friends. All right, so here's the deal. If you are watching this, maybe give me some confirmation in the chat room. Basically, at this stage, there's a lot of ways you could broadcast live. There's not a lot of ways that you could do it in a controlled environment, and that's what we do with the Guild. This is a Guild member-only privilege. So we do use YouTube to do the broadcast, but we don't really use their chat system or anything, and it's really an unlisted video, so technically someone could share it, but that's not in everyone's best interest, so usually we don't. But if... at this point, we're still just putting everything on the Guild site, so it's embedded and it might not be the best experience on mobile. So I'd like to figure out a better solution for that. But for now, the chat room is on thewoodwhispererguild.com/live, and you can participate in the chat, ask me questions. That's what I will be reading as I talk to you here today. And if you want, if you're on a desktop, it's the best solution because then you can kind of pop out a tab or pop out the chat or whatever you want, so you can kind of have two screens going at the same time. It kind of just falls apart when we're talking about mobile experience, unfortunately. Also, sometimes this time in the evening, depending on how many people decide they want to use the internet in our neighborhood, we could sometimes, even though we, have pay for really good internet, sometimes the speeds just get a little choked up because everybody's home watching Netflix, right? So that's what you do in the evenings. Shane Smith, welcome. Longtime watcher, first time liver. However you would say that. So here's the deal. Pardon me if I hit the microphone. The live Guild sessions, generally speaking, are like an anything goes sort of thing. It's a Q&A. It's a, hey, how you doing? Say hi to your mother for me kind of situation. Anything you have questions about, anything related to the Guild. If there's any specific business I need to cover, I usually just do that in the beginning. We'll just talk about anything specific to Guild stuff. And I do have something to talk about, so we'll get to that in a second. Michael says he's on his phone and it works great. I think the trick is juggling between watching the feed and then being able to get the chat to work and having both of those going at the same time. No, we actually have Cox, not CenturyLink, Rich, and the connection is really good. We've got like 125 down, 60 something up, or maybe 50 up. I can't remember exactly. Like, we pay for a really good tier of internet, and it is good. But still, sometimes this time in the evening when everybody around you also has Cox and they're using their internet service, sometimes the upload stream can start to drop packets and stuff. So, okie dokie. Well, hey, welcome to all the first timers. I'm glad to see you. I've been a little inconsistent with my live sessions this year, and I think most of you by now are sick of hearing about my thyroid troubles. It's been a whole year. Basically since my daughter was born back in September, it's just been this battle with these little health issues and my personal health anxieties, which I've talked about ad nauseum in the past. I talked about it once, but that's enough for me. So I like to think that I'm on the other side of that now and that we can move back to more predictable scheduling. That said, we are planning a move, so that we've done that before. We have ways to get around certain things, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. My commitment to the Guild is very strong, and I think by now you see that I actually sacrifice just about everything else content-wise to make sure the guild stuff comes out when it's supposed to come out. I think that's the way it needs to be. So we'll just continue to do that. All right, so first things first, I put up a post the other day in the news section of the guild and on Facebook that basically said we are considering adding more projects. Adding more projects has been something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I don't think people realize, maybe you do, just how much work goes into the production of a guild project. And if you're a single-man operation and you're doing the building, the filming, the planning, the editing, the post-production, and of course the actual building of the project itself, the entire process to, and then of course adding in the marketing and the website stuff to get everything where it needs to go, it's a whole deal, and it takes a long time to do that. So it's actually difficult, if not impossible, for me to do more than 3 projects a year and still give some level of attention to the free site, which is absolutely necessary. That said, I always want to bring more to the guild, to bring more value, to bring more exposure to different things that I can't show you either because I don't want to, it's something that I'm not interested in, or I just don't physically have the capabilities to show you those things. So that was, part of my vision with bringing Matt Cremona into the fold, was that, hey, here's a like-minded individual who does things a little bit differently than I do, has resources that I don't have, and offers a unique woodworking perspective. He's young, which is fine. 10 years ago, a lot of you were still watching me, and I was 10 years younger than I am today. So young has nothing to do with it if his skills are there, and I truly believe they are. So I wanted to test that. We did the sofa table. That was pretty good, and I think we can do even better in the future. And I'm excited to have Matt on the schedule helping me fill out the 2017 roster and bring it from 3 projects to 4 projects. So originally we were toying with the idea of 6, but that was just going to be way too much workload, and I think 4 is a nice number. So that's what's going to happen. And when I posted about this, I was trying to figure out from the guild members, honest opinion about, would you rather have your bundles made in a way that it's separated by instructor, or do you just want everything? Whether it's from me or Matt, you don't care. And the thing was, enough people cared. Not to say that they didn't like Matt or that Matt wasn't good enough, but they wanted to be able to choose who they learned from. Not everybody, and honestly the poll was about 50-50. But the bottom line was, enough people would have been upset by being forced to watch an instructor they didn't necessarily want to watch, that I quickly realized that we cannot do it that way, right? So you guys spoke out. That's why I did the post and the poll, because I wanted to find out what those numbers actually were. And we came up with a solution, I think, that integrates what people were asking for, makes some really good improvements, and I think you're going to be happy with it. And the bottom line is, adding 4 projects means there's just more stuff to watch. It's going to be a project per quarter, and we're going to alternate between Matt and myself. And I did everything I could within the confines of the technology that we have in the shopping cart system to bring you guys the best deals possible and to give you the most options, without undermining the value of what we're bringing to you guys. So let me just do a quick screen share here with you, and I'll show you something that we just implemented on the guild site. So now you should be seeing a very confusing, never-ending tunnel of screens. Anybody else getting audio issues? Okay, well, if one of you is and one of you isn't, then I'm going to assume that it is not happening. If someone's getting clean audio, then it's clean. At least that's my expectation and hope. Hey, look at that good-looking guy. What's his problem? All right, good, we're good. So here's the guild homepage, right? And you might notice something a little bit different. We now have the 4 projects. And it starts with the fall project. Again, the bundles are sort of disassociated with the year. It's not about the year. It is a total of a year's content, but it isn't locked into a calendar year. So the next 4 projects are displayed here: fall, winter, spring, summer. So the upcoming projects now are the tall case clock, grandfather clock, that's coming up soon. Then Cremona will jump in with a beautiful farmhouse table and benches project. Then I'm going to do a dining chair. And then, I think a lot of you are going to be looking forward to this one. Cremona is going to do a reproduction. It's going to be a Queen Anne highboy. Details to come concerning that. So this is now the new bundle with 4. And what happened was, people want to be able to choose, Well, what if I don't want Cremona? What if I don't want MARC? What if, Cremona brings some people in and they just want his projects? The problem was previously, the only way you can get this big 50% off deal was to get the early bird bundle. And even if you wanted like 2 of the 3 projects, you really couldn't get those at a discount. So now we've added a feature that allows you to do that. All right, so if you look down here, this is of course the main bundle, which we'll look at in a second. You can also build your own bundle. And this again is just concerning upcoming projects. And I'll just read what it says. Not interested in every project. Add any upcoming project to your cart and start saving. So if I add 1 of these to my cart, I save 10%. 2, 20, 3 of these, I get 40% off. And then finally, if I have 4 upcoming projects, I get 50% off. So I can actually rebuild that bundle. If I just go to the store, I could add all 4 of those projects to my cart now manually and recreate the same price that's in the bundle. So really the bundle just becomes a thing of convenience. It's a pre-assembled thing we put together for you so that all you have to do is click 1 thing instead of adding 4 to your cart. All right, but what that means, and you'll see each time I add 1 of these, the percentage discount keeps going up. You keep saving money each time. So by the time I add all 4, we have 50% savings on each 1 of these. Let me take 1 away. Let's say you don't care about my dining chair. You see what happened? Each 1 of those just went up in price because the discount went down to 40%. All right, remove another project. The discount goes down a little bit more. And finally, you only have 1 project in your cart. It's going to go down to 10%. But at least you're getting a discount because, again, it's an upcoming project. That's your way of, we look at it as a way of investing in us on a project that hasn't even occurred yet. Which is really important to us to be, I don't know, I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that you're sort of taking a chance on us because we haven't actually made the product yet. So that's how the new system works. And you could come back once a year and just get the current configuration of the bundle, or you could work off of the build your own mix and match system, whatever you want to do. There's also another great feature that I am really, really fond of at this point. And this has been a problem in the past, if you have any of these 4 projects, the ones that are in the bundle, and you come in here and try to buy the bundle, the system will restrict you from doing that so that no one will ever again be able to buy the bundle, because this has happened a couple times, if they already own even 1 of the projects in the bundle. You cannot double buy. So the only time this bundle opens up is when you're actually eligible for all of the projects in there, and I think that's huge. I feel like I'm an Apple representative giving a talk on the new iPhone. The way I'm selling this, it's kind of weird. So here's the deal. I did have to move things around a little bit. The dining chair was slated for the winter project. Because of this move, I'm anticipating probably having a weird shop situation for a little while. I don't even know what's going to happen with the move. So to sort of give myself a little bit of breathing room there, again, the flexibility of having a second instructor is putting Matt in the winter schedule. And Matt's Farmhouse Table will release sometime in January to February, we'll see. So that means I will do the spring project, all right? So people who already subscribed, got a bundle, and it had the dining chair in it, you're going to notice a gap, right? Because your dining chair that you had in January is now going to occur in the spring. And Matt's project is occurring before the dining chair. So if that's a problem for you and you want to get Matt's Farmhouse Table, just email me and I can get you the discount, the 50% price. We'll work it out, right? And I know when I move projects around, it screws things up and people get upset, but it's nothing we can't solve. I'm not denying you projects. But just because you bought the dining chair doesn't mean you get Matt's project for free. That hasn't been the case for a long time. You do have to pay for it. But if you already bought a bundle and you wanted that project that Matt's doing, we can add that to your bundle and basically give you a 50% off coupon code or something to get it at that discount price. But you have to have purchased a bundle for me to be able to do that for you, if that makes sense. Okay, so any problems with your bundles, if you're confused, email me, let me know. But I'm hoping the system is getting much more clear as to what you're getting for your money. And the more stuff you add to your cart, the more you save, is the bottom line. Archived projects at this point are still the same deal. You have to have 3 or more in your cart, you get 25% off. That's finished projects. The real questions arise around the upcoming projects, and that's the problem that we're trying to solve here. Okay? So, did I miss anything good? Let's scroll back a little bit, see if there's any questions about all that stuff. I'm an open book when it comes to these things. I'll show you whatever you need to see to clear any questions up that you might have. Michael wants to know, do I like the Incra miter gauge? Thinking of getting one. Also, have updated your crosscut sled. No. Okay, so the crosscut sled, I still owe you guys a new sled, and that's all you see. If you see that little aluminum face on there, it's an experiment, and I can't give much information about it because I'm not done figuring out what I want to do. So ignore that. But the Incra miter sled is, I've actually had maybe 2 models of those over the years. Love them. Absolutely love them. I think they're great. We also plan to do something, by the way, with the projects on the site to make it a little bit clearer. Details, instructor, Matt Cremona, and faces on the image itself, so you can tell very clearly which ones are our Cremona projects and which ones are our Spagnola projects. Yes, so Dave asks, is it possible to switch the dining chair to the table? So if you already have the bundle and you have the dining chair, but you decided you want the table, absolutely. I can remove you from the dining chair and put you into the farmhouse table. That is not a problem at all. But you have to email us to make that happen. Hey, Vic's in the house. You know what? We probably will have Matt start participating more in things like having him directly accessible from the guild contact forms. I'm going to set him up so that he sees comments in his inbox when they come in on the website so that he could respond to questions that come in on the videos. Even if it's a video that, like someone asks a question on a sofa table, he needs to know that that question came in. So we will be incorporating him into the system. It'll be exactly the way you contact me. We'll probably just have a drop down, so you can pick me or him. And we would probably want to get Matt involved somehow in the live sessions. Getting him involved in terms of video, that could be a little bit tricky. At the very least, I might just get him in and pipe through a Skype call so that you guys can hear our conversation and we can kind of, go back and forth with that. That could be a little bit tricky because I don't want it to become the Mark and Matt show. I'd like these things to be more Q&A to make the audience have a voice. And if we can still maintain that with the two of us, then yeah, totally. I would love to do that. The thing is, honestly, the coolest stuff we can do with collaborative live things are things that are going to be difficult to keep behind a guild wall, if you know what I mean, right? So if we don't mind these things being out in the public, there's probably other cool things we can do. It's trying to keep things behind a paywall that makes it a little bit trickier to make sure that we're sort of respecting the fact that these are guild members and not just our typical free audiences. Oh, you're going to go see Daryl? Nice. Daryl Peart is the man with the multi-router. He has such... not really sure, Vic, if you're sort of engineer-minded in that way, where like he going down to the 1,000th decimal place, and people, we say that about William Ng all the time, walking around with the calipers in his shop apron. That's the kind of person that Daryl is. All of his cut lists are in decimal form. He doesn't use fractions, right? So everything is down to decimal places. And even when you take a class with him, and he gives you the cut list, you're sitting there trying to, like, if you're used to fractions, you're like, what? I don't remember what like a 64th is. What is that? And you have to write everything down and convert it all to fractions. So I'll be interested to hear some of your input on his take on the multi-router, because that's the kind of tool that I could see someone like that geeking out on, right? Being able to get so precise with your adjustments. That is just an amazing tool. So in the right hands, could be pretty crazy. Jason Holtz wants to know, he says, do you have general resawing guidelines, thickness, width, letting the boards reacclimate, etc.? I have a brand new bandsaw and discovering resawing isn't as easy as tossing boards through. You're absolutely right. Kind of a big topic though, Jason. There's a lot of ground to cover with something like that, maybe beyond the scope of what we're doing here. But generally speaking, you want well acclimated material. Sometimes, no matter what you do, the wood can warp on you when you cut it. And that may not necessarily be due to acclimation. There could be other factors and stresses in the wood causing that to happen. So there have been times where, like, I don't know, a friend would come over, or someone from the website would come over and ask if they could resaw something at my shop. And it's a really valuable, nice piece of something just beautiful and figured. And I am absolutely nervous about the prospect of cutting that on my bandsaw because I don't know what's going to happen. And it may not be my saw's fault. It's probably the properties of the wood, but I still would feel responsible for resawing that. So I find that generally speaking, resawing can be a crapshoot, especially if you're just getting your material from different sources, or you don't know, you can go to the same store, but you're not sure exactly where it's coming from. Different levels of acclimation, different qualities of drying that have been done on those boards. It can be an unpredictable process, but part of the learning curve is just doing it and seeing what the wood can tolerate, and then seeing how much you need to do with it post-cutting to handle any moisture exchange that might occur, because obviously it might be holding a little more moisture in the center of the board. So sometimes it's necessary to do things, sometimes not. I think we probably could do some sort of a private Google Hangout if we wanted to. The trick is, and I don't use Google Hangouts, I'm just assuming they have to have some kind of ability to limit it in terms of who can watch. I guess there's really nothing wrong with that. I guess the quality is something that I would miss. When we do these live Q&As, super high quality video, high quality audio, pretty good. I'm not sure, but the Q&A is just talking. A bonus for a Q&A, that might not be a bad idea. And the cool thing about that too is if we did a hangout, sometimes they can get a little bit painful to watch because of the delay, or if you bring people in who aren't used to doing this sort of thing, it can be a little awkward. You ever see the hangouts where half the time people are just kind of there to watch, so they never talk and they're just sitting there and they're one of the people in the display that it just looks funny. So there's always some of that to contend with, but that might be an option. Oh, Google. Okay, see, like I said, I don't do Google Hangouts. So 15-person max on Google Hangouts. There's always a possibility. I don't know if Matt's internet connection would hold up, but we could also try to do something. You could see how we could do a desktop screen share like this. There is always a possibility of bringing Matt in via Skype, and it's just a matter of routing the audio properly. Because honestly, we could do a session like this. I could pan the camera up, go full screen with Matt, and have his face be my whole TV, and then have the conversation going that way. That could be pretty funny. Maybe we'll try that. Matt, we got to practice, man. When no one's watching, we'll try and see if that works. You know what, Tim? The plans on the clock are my current headache right now. I've never actually built a clock, a tall case clock, so just trying to get a solid set of plans that I know will work with a specific supplier of the clock parts. And like anything with the guild, I really want to provide a kit, if in a way. So I've got an email out to the folks at Clockit to see if they want to work with us to provide a kit, because if they do, we're going to send a substantial amount of business their way. So it kind of behooves them to do something for us to allow us to kind of have a one-click solution to add all of the things that I'm using on the clock into the cart. And this way they could kind of be, an official supplier for this project. But having never built one before, it's a lot of just making sure that I get all the measurements done properly to accommodate, all of the inner workings and make sure everything goes there. The reality is the actual case for I guess it depends on the design of the tall case clock, but most of them are pretty straightforward. If you can do a mortise and tenon joint, you could probably build that clock, right? So the clock itself isn't so the case itself isn't so complicated. It's the damn clockworks and movement and all that stuff. Yeah, I could have sworn that Google Hangouts does have some kind of broadcasting option. I mean, you guys clearly know more about that than I did. But I've seen or participated in Hangouts that I'm pretty sure there were more than, 15 people. Isn't 15 people the max that can be involved directly in the video aspects of the Hangout? Can't other people watch, even if they're not participating? How could they not have some kind of a feature like that? But if the goal is to truly make it a hangout, not watch other people hang out, then I guess 15 would be that limit. We'll look into it. Mateo had a great time. He had a really good first day. Today was the second day. Had another good day, so can't complain. It's always difficult transitioning from summer program to the regular school year. He's a creature of habit, so anytime there's a big change, it can disrupt the household for quite some time. The power of a child to completely change the mood and direction of a house is, it never ceases to amaze me. Haha. Well, good luck, Joseph. Joseph's got about 6.5 weeks until his first kid arrives to use the crib that he's currently building. So that's a tight time frame, man. Good luck. Chet, I have not had a chance to really fire up the Makita yet. It was once the Bosch started going, it was working, serving my purposes. So when I'm in the middle of trying to get work done, the last thing on my mind is swapping miter saws and starting over. So it's sitting on the floor. It will be used. It just hasn't yet. I've got faith that the Makita is going to probably be, just in general performance, just as good as the Bosch. I used to have a Makita, absolutely loved it. So it was really the Bosch that had something to prove to me. The Makita is almost a slam dunk. But now that I've been used to the Bosch at this point, I'm very curious to see what I think of the Makita when I do fire that up. Maybe I'll get that set up in time for the grandfather clock, and then I'll just, it'll be up there and I'll be forced to use it. Hey, thanks for that, Dave. I'm glad you liked the video. It's a little bit weird showing your house to everybody. It's kind of uncomfortable, but we figure, we've got a network of people. When you're trying to sell something, a network of people can be very handy, especially if those people are woodworkers. I mean, even if only a very tiny percentage of them even could be eligible to buy this via location or budget or whatever. But it's worth a shot because you never know. Yeah, Vic, I did. If you're talking about the Festool Capex, that's long gone. Sold it. Oh, geez, Rubo leg question. It's sometimes off the top of my head, I might have trouble answering questions about older projects. Timber available here is typically 1 3/4. When milled, the max is 42. Laminating 2 boards will give me 84 at most. 3 3/10, he says. Would that be thick enough, or should I laminate an extra board that would allow me a thicker leg up to 4.5? I don't know for sure. I'm hoping someone in the chat room is closer to the project, having done it more recently. I don't know exactly what the ramifications are for that leg thickness. I'm pretty sure you can get away with going with a skinnier leg because the only time it really matters is with the interaction with the leg vise. And I just don't think that would be a huge problem. Oh, I see what you're saying, Michael. So the Google Hangout ties into YouTube Live, and then you broadcast through the YouTube channel. Okay. Well, that's still an option, right? And then we would just use YouTube chat. Oh, David, I decided to move my tools or sell? I was never really considering selling my tools. I was toying with that as a conversational thing on Wood Talk at one point, but I was never actually considering selling. It's kind of like food for thought. Would you sell your tools? I'm definitely not. I would just be rebuying a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, we're pretty deserty here, Vic. It's very deserty. Yeah, you see that, Jim? We actually missed it the first time around. I showed it to my buddy John, and he goes, he mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I was actually looking because we're all in the house at the time, so we're kind of moving from room to room, letting the video guy do his thing, and then that one was just perfect. You just see him peek around the corner. It was really cute. Sawdust says, could you repeat the green and green coffee table project? Is Matt presenting it later? Okay, I'm confused. I don't know what you mean about Matt presenting it later. The green and green coffee table project is not my project. That's a William Ng project. And it would not be cool for me to guild. Yeah, you know, Vic brings up a good question, not really a question, a good point about the chop saw. A lot of people don't use the chop saw for important cuts. It was the Capex that got me into the habit of doing just that, using it as a cross-cutting tool, even for fine cuts. And I continue to do that with the Bosch, and frankly, I can't wait to have a little bit more of a substantial miter area, like a miter station area, so that I could fit longer boards and use stops for repetitive cuts. And with a good blade and a saw that cuts true, I find that using a sliding miter saw is so much easier, more convenient than putting a sled or a miter gauge up on the table saw. So if you can get accurate cuts from it, I love it, but I know most people don't see the chop saw as sort of that accurate type tool. Terry, we will definitely be looking for a home with a shop or a property that would allow us to build one, or option 3 is, find a house that we really love that has at least a 3-car garage, and then I just, suck it up and downsize. So it's so up in the air, we really don't know where we're going to end up and what we're going to do. So when I move to Denver, will I root for the Giants still or switch to the Broncos? I will always have to root for the Giants. That's in my blood. But, it depends. I think I probably would root for the Broncos. I never really loved living in Arizona. It was kind of a means to an end. It served its purpose and it was okay. And then I quickly grew to not love the area just because of the heat. So I never... I guess if I had to, if it came down to it, I might root for the Cardinals if they're playing, another team I don't care about. But I never became a Cards fan. But making the active choice to kind of live in Denver and really embrace the local stuff, I think I probably would become something of a Broncos fan. Got to support the local team, right? Well, here's the thing. Someone I see mentions buffering and jumping. I only can control what I'm sending out, and I actually have a stream status here that lets me know if things are good, and sometimes it's not good. But mine says good, and I don't have any errors. So if there's stuttering, jumping, it's probably on the downstream end, and there's not really much I can do about that. Adam has a great question. Have you ever thought about having a shop outside the home? I have thought about it, and it hasn't gone past that. And the reason is, having a shop outside the home, when you're a small business like I am, is a great way to not make a whole lot of money. It's really expensive to rent a space or lease a space and do everything that you need to do properly to have a commercial space like that. And that, starting every month with that kind of overhead, starting in the hole every month, for a small business like mine, could make the difference between us surviving and not surviving. So quite frankly, I thought about it, but then quickly stopped as soon as I remembered, oh yeah, that's going to cost money. I would rather work in an extremely small space than venture off into a commercial space. The only way I would do it is if the space was like a friend's space that they were just letting me use. That would be a different story. But renting or leasing, it's just not in the cards for a very small, low overhead business like we have. Let's see. Crafted Magazine, that's a weird name. I know that's not your name. What's your opinion on using hard maple as a top for my Rubo and SIP, Southern Yellow Pine, for the base? Any issues with wood movement differences? Love watching guild build on your Rubo. You know what? I don't think it's that big of a deal. The way the base and the top interact, you're allowing for movement, right? So it could move a little bit, and who cares? I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. So if those are the materials you want to work with and that's what you have on hand, I wouldn't say you shouldn't. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, someone else's shop that you have access to, that'd be nice. I'm not much of a hockey fan, guys. It's just never been on my radar, really. Oh, that's right. You signed in with Twitter. That makes sense. Gotcha. Jason, good point, man. He says you're going to have to practice your answers to humidity questions. You've gotten really used to saying, I don't really have that problem. I don't have humidity. So yeah, all of my rust questions, all of my wood acclimation questions, yeah, all of those things are now going to be a factor, aren't they? Darn it. Good thing I did some woodworking in San Diego. I did have to deal with a little bit of humidity there. Though I have to say, overall, Denver is a pretty dry climate. They certainly get precipitation there, but in terms of, it's actually pretty much a desert. It's just an elevated desert. How much of my shop is coming with me? Will all the cabinets stay or go? What about the lighting? Well, most of the stuff is staying in terms of if it's on the ceiling, I'm not going to take it down. So the lights will be staying. I did talk to Nicole today and I said, I don't know that anyone who moves in here is going to really care about these cabinets or appreciate them. And I do know that no matter what I do and where I go, I am immediately going to need storage, right? So I don't want job one, day one to be, okay, go build some cabinets. Because I don't know if you remember, but the last time it took me a year and a half to get these drawers done and all the drawer fronts and building all the boxes. And I did all of these boxes. I did wind up going with cabinage for the guts on these things, the frames, but I built the drawers and the boxes myself, and it just took me a long time to do it. And I used, the Incra iBox jig to do box joints on all of these. They came out great. Invested all the money in the slides and everything like that. So I think I'm going to be taking these, it's not that many, the actual cabinetry that's here, but I think I'll be taking those with me. I have not evaluated the Festool hole boring system for cabinets. I have seen it, and it's impressive for what it is. If that's something you do a lot of, it looks like a good system. Nick, I'm not a skier. I've actually never been skiing or snowboarding. Grew up in Jersey, and it wasn't exactly a convenient thing to do, and it was expensive, so my mom would never let us go. Yeah, to be honest, when we went to Colorado to visit, my lips got all dried out, and I'm used to dry weather. The problem was we had gone to Missouri for a while and then came back to Colorado. But if I go somewhere and get dry lips, that's seriously dry, coming from Arizona. So it was pretty damn dry there. Yeah, Brett says Denver's almost as dry as Arizona. There are about a dozen humid days a year, but he says he's never encountered rust on any level. Well, there you go. So I don't have to worry about my humidity questions. I can still say, well, it's dry here. I don't have to worry about that. Joseph wants to know if I'm looking at neighborhood living or land with trees. It's a little bit of a conflict of, of our interests there, and that's the problem. If you want land with a place to build a shop, or a place that maybe comes with a shop, or a space that could be converted to one, you kind of do have to go a little bit further out. But because of the whole family aspect, we love living in neighborhoods. We like knowing our neighbors, and and that sort of camaraderie that comes from being in a little community. So I think the community side of things will win. When we lived out a little bit west from here, the first shop I worked in Arizona, that was in the middle of the desert, kind of in the middle of nowhere. We had some neighbors, but it was on a gravel road. It was like, bordering open desert, and we hated it. And then we moved here, and it's only like 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away from the other house, but such a different vibe here, because it's a smaller community and there's houses. And something about that is just enjoyable to us, and I think that's probably what we'll be shooting for again. So trying to get the shop situation to work with those needs in the home is where we're going to run into some conflicts, and we're going to have some big challenges. Let's see, Sawdust says, any opinion on the cost of live edge boards? Seems to be a big discrepancy on cost here in Denver. Some tree services are reasonable prices. Seems to be an elite market too. I have no opinions on that, my friend, because I don't buy live edge stuff. I don't have much opportunity to buy it. So maybe in a year I might have opinions on something like that. David, we did not get the house we were looking at. We actually backed out of that one. So we're still looking for another one. Guest 80 wants me to build a miter station for the shop. Well, right now, because I don't know what I'm doing with the shop, that's definitely going to be a project that's shelved. But I mentioned before how I like having that ability to cross-cut there, and having a good miter station is essential for that. So even in a new shop setup situation, I probably will still need to do that. So it's on the list. It's coming up. I just, I keep promising it and not actually doing it. Yeah, no kidding. That's another thing. Timon, is that your name? Timon? You go too far out and then you have internet issues. And that is one thing that we cannot compromise on. We have to have, good quality high-speed internet, or we can't run our business. Terry, good question. How will you find time moving and setting up a new shop? Affecting the guild projects, where do you find the time? I don't know. But you know what? When you are determined to get things done, you get it done and you figure it out. We will try to, or in an ideal scenario, the move would happen between guild projects, right? So we've got August, this month is when I'm supposed to be building and filming the grandfather clock. As long as I get that project filmed, completely built and filmed by the end of the month, I could start the editing process just like I did with the barristers and move into September. And then I could, as long as I can get my computer up and running, even if we're not in this house anymore, I can still produce those videos and get those out and do live sessions and talk to you guys. And you guys would actually not even know that I wasn't in my shop. But the key is I have to get that project done in time. If I get that done, the way this is working concerning guild projects is I could be done working in August and have September, October, November, December. Matt's coming in January to do the farmhouse table. So that's January, February, March. I probably won't be building my next project until March for the guild. Now, if I have a shop during that time, what that means is I'll either get a good head start on that project, or I'll just have a great series, a great run on the free site where I could do a bunch of projects there, which the free site could use it at this point. So no complaints there. But I am timing things now to leave a large gap of time for me to be able to pull off a move, get settled in a new shop, and be able to start being productive. So if we had to move earlier than that, that would cause problems. And if we can't find a new house or can't sell this house after a few months, that's going to cause problems. But we do have a window of time that I'm hoping to pull all this off in. I'm going to have to adjust my settings because the chat's going a little bit too fast. It keeps scrolling to the last question. Okay. Jason says, do you plan on doing apprentices for every guild build, or a little more hit and miss? Our plan is to do them for every guild build. I love that process. Hanging out with David was good. David was here while I was going through some of these health questions and unknowns, and it was very, frustrating. He was totally understanding about it, and we kind of, bonded over some of those things, which was cool. It was a lot of fun. So I imagine when I'm actually at 100%, myself, the process can be even more fun, and I'll have more energy, and it'll be a more exciting experience for the apprentice as well. So I loved it. I really enjoyed that experience. The only thing that could mess it up is if I have scheduling conflicts and things. So we do plan to do this for every build from here on out as long as we can. Because how cool is that, right? I mean, if people can find the time and the budget to come out and hang out with me, I'll take the help. Frankly, it does slow me down a little bit, but I expect that toward the end of the apprenticeship, we'll be cruising, once they get into the groove and see how we get things done. It's a lot of fun, so we'll definitely be doing it again. Where'd you go, Cup? So Doug, that's what I was just referring to. The move shouldn't impact the apprenticeship this time because the apprenticeship is taking place in August. And we just put our house on the market. Chances are it is not going to sell before the end of this month. So as long as I still have access to the shop and can complete that project, I'm golden. We may even, if I run into problems, or I may just make the request for it, chances are we will sell this house first and then be looking for a house in Denver, in which case we'd live with my mom temporarily. If that happens, I will at least inquire about the possibility of a rent-back situation with the shop. Because it's a completely separate entity from the house. If they're okay with it, I'll rent the shop back for another few months so I can continue to work, maybe even like buffer up content for the free site and get some serious work done, and then have even more ability to kind of just have my computer with my footage and then do what needs to be done while still being able to actually produce content. So that would be great. Will Matt take the slack when you move, referring to guild meetings, or are you going to try to do it all? Oh, no. There will be no slack to be taken up. Even if I had to do a guild meeting in my office, and Vic brought up old school Wednesday chats, that's how we used to do this. Not for the guild, but we used to do it on the free site, and we would just hang out in the office, play some music, and it was such a casual, like nobody had anything better to do time. I like to serve your time a little bit better when we do these meetings. But there's no reason I can't do this in my office. Guild meetings are more of an opportunity to just ask anything. Anything goes. And if you want me to show you something in the shop, I can kind of redirect the camera to do that. But that doesn't mean that we can't still have Q&As and stuff like that from an office. So, if I had to, I would just do it from a garage or from an office. I presumably will have some makeshift kind of shop going on. So I will not be passing off live session duties. I may still have Matt come in and help me out virtually, if he's up for it, but I don't think it'll get so bad that I need to hand that off. Guest 137, with a new bundle system, will there be any kind of notification to tell you when it's time to get a new bundle? Yes, when it comes to the bundles, anytime I change the bundle, I query the database for who doesn't have any of those projects. And if your name comes up, I send you an email as a courtesy that just says, hey, here it is. Now, email is email, so sometimes things don't make it there, so it's kind of hard to absolutely 100% be sure that you're going to see that email, but I will make the attempt to let you know that you're eligible for the bundle when it first launches. Daryl, what happened with the Honda videos? Well, I'm happy to say, I believe this Friday, the first video is going to come out, and that is the barbecue cart. From there, we are on an every other week release schedule. So we should have a video Friday, we'll have another video 2 weeks from then, 2 weeks from then, 2 weeks from then. 4 total videos. It's going to take us right into the beginning of September. Woodworkers fighting cancer on the agenda for the fall winter? Yeah, Joe. We are absolutely doing it. I don't know what we're doing, and that does fall right into the time frame that could be confusing for the move. But hey, Woodworkers fighting cancer is always about a more basic project, right? So even if I have to pull out my portable power tools and do this work in a driveway somewhere, right? Even if my shop is that in tatters and not ready to be, I'll do it. I'll make it happen. I just built 4 projects in the back of a pickup truck, so I could do just about whatever I need to do. But woodworkers fighting cancer is not, it's just been too successful. It's not optional. You know, we're able to generate so much revenue for the cause that I would feel really guilty not doing that 1 year. You know, it's such a missed opportunity to direct funds into a worthy charity that will, you know, come hell or high water, we will figure out a way to make it happen. Hey, Matt, you want to offer an apprentice? I don't know, Michael. That's Matt's decision. But that's a good question. Maybe apply a little pressure. Keep in mind, Matt works odd hours, if I'm not mistaken, between him and Lindsay and the kid, and now soon to be plural kids. I'm pretty sure Matt works nights, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's changed, but he does work some odd hours. Oh, you like that 360 thing, Michael? A lot of people didn't. I thought it was cool. I wasn't doing it to, like, you know, say this is our new way of doing things. I just thought it was cool technology and wanted to try it. But a lot of people were kind of annoyed by it. But I'm glad you liked it. I wish the video quality was a little bit better, but it was fun. It was cool. It'll get better, you know, like anything. It's fairly new. Adam says I should take on Shannon's technique of hand tools only for the move. No thanks. That's all I'll say about that. No thank you. I'll use hand tools, jigsaw, and a handheld circular saw, and a handheld drill. Dave wants to know on my site or where are the videos going to be? You're talking about the Honda videos. Those will be on the Wood Whisperer site. So on Friday, you know, when you normally get a notification about a video being up, you'll see the barbecue cart. They will probably share the links to ours, and they might do something on their end, but we will be the primary source. The plans, everything will come directly from us. And while there is a little bit of the necessary beast of advertising integration in these videos because they are sponsoring it, they did, you know, kind of have a light hand in it. They really weren't too aggressive. So you see some sort of, you know, conspicuous shots of the truck. It's obvious that that's what's going on here, but it isn't overbearing. You actually do get to see this project go together. You get a nice little set of plans, and it's not up to my normal standard quality of like projects. It's just plywood weekend type thing, but it was fun. It's an easy project. All of them are pretty easy to do. So who knows? Hopefully you guys will like it, but it's certainly not, you know, our normal level of quality. Michael doesn't sleep. He has 4 kids. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. Cremona doesn't work nights anymore. He upgraded to a nanny. And so Matt, that means now you have to take on an apprentice. Rich, we are always open to suggestions for charities. I will tell you, though, the last year that we've had involved multiple cancer scares, a skin cancer incident with Nicole, and in the past 2 years, I've lost 3 uncles and aunts, so 1 aunt, 2 uncles, to various forms of cancer. It's going to be really hard for us to pull away from that, at least in the you know, immediate future. So there are, you know, oodles of absolutely worthy causes, but it's so hard with both my dad and Nicole's dad currently having cancer battles of their own. It's really hard for us to imagine doing anything other than that right now. So absolutely send us your suggestions, but please don't be offended if we don't immediately take them, just because right now we're prepared to redouble our efforts for all of this stuff because of our own experiences in the last year or two. Television, Doug, what do you think this is, man? I wish they were shown on television. Yeah, I'm not sure I would want to be Cremona's apprentice, right? You're just going to be moving big boards. He's not going to let you do anything fun. You know? Think about it. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Obviously not the only one. I mean, the statistics on this stuff are mind-boggling about just how many people get some form of cancer or, die with, not from cancer, but die with some kind of cancer in their body. They died from something else. It's horrible, and it's something that if it hasn't touched you directly, it will touch you indirectly with like a 1 degree removed family member. And it's just hard for me to wrap my brain around a more worthy cause for us to put our weight behind. But again, respecting all other causes out there, there's obviously other terrible diseases and other things that we could do to directly help people. We do our own private charity stuff outside of Wood Whisperer, things that we support locally. So we've always got that kind of helps us sleep at night. TV's going the way of magazines. Down the turlet. Hey, Sean Rubino's here. What's happening, dude? Good to see you. How's the kids? Yeah, skip the gym. Come to Cremona's. Cremona's House of Logs. I'd shop there. Shout out to the Dusty Life. Dusty Life! How's that? I still have to listen to the show. I suck at listening to other people's podcasts. I'm terrible at it. When I listen to podcasts, especially when I'm woodworking, it's weird. I'm so inundated with woodworking information on kind of like a 24-hour cycle that when I put something directly into my ear, 99% of the time it's going to be other people's podcasts but having nothing to do with woodworking, or it's like an audiobook or music. Sometimes I like to listen to music. Guest 80 says, I've always learned a lot from your tool reviews and selections. I recently upgraded my contractor saw to a Felder sliding table saw. Any chance for one of these in your future? Well, I'll be as honest as I possibly can with this. Not while I'm sponsored by Powermatic. You're not likely to see that. Felder has some great equipment there. I suppose I have some interest. It might be a little overkill for me, but I have worked on some of those European style sliders, and they're amazing. They're just amazing. I don't know that I would ever get one, but it is something that I, might be interested in at some point. What it would probably require is I don't know. I'm trying to think of a situation where I would justify getting something like that. So not to be too negative, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. As long as our relationship continues to be strong with Powermatic, there's just no reason for me to look elsewhere for stuff. But you are not going to be unhappy with a Felder sliding table saw. The clock picture, I wish I knew how to pronounce her name. Timon? The style is probably going to be something in the arts and crafts Stickley mission style. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go with slanted sides yet. I don't know if we're going to try to tie into some of the more Stickley style where they have the through tenons, which I think look awesome. I haven't nailed it down perfectly, but I will. This one I'm a little bit late to the game with, but I will have some information on the design pretty soon. But yes, I think it's fair to say it will be close to the project picture. What is that? Oh, is that water? Is it raining? Does Powermatic make a sliding table saw? Huh. I don't know. I don't know if they do. I didn't think they did, but you know, Powermatic is the line that would probably carry it if they were to produce one. I didn't think that they did. Yeah, Joseph's got it right. A used car or a Felder table saw? That's a tough one. They are an investment. My shadow looks like Vader. You talking about my shirt? Because my shirt is Darth Vader. It's not a shadow. It's actually the shirt. Does that make sense? And that's not a sweat shadow. I'm really into these. I've got a whole bunch of these different shirts. It's a style that's, I guess, becoming popular enough that they're making in different like properties this type of barely visible logos and things on the shirt. And if you look at them just right, you could see what it's supposed to be. But otherwise, it's really, really subtle. I don't like super loud shirts. So I've got this one and even our HVLP one. Remember, we had a limited time that we ran the Scott Johnson artwork shirts. That Nicole was doing those for a while. I've got one of those in a dark gray with black markings on it. So it's almost unreadable. But if you look closely enough, you see it. So yeah, this is actually Darth Vader. Nick wants to know, any idea what the new product from Powermatic is? Yes, I do have an idea what it is. And in fact, I can't share pictures or give you too many details about it, but I was told I could tease about it. So let me see what the one way I could tease about it is. All right. I don't have one in my shop. And it is typically referred to by 3 letters. Daniel, straight side and slanted option. He's talking about the grandfather clock. I don't know. I'll have to see if it's easy enough to go back and forth between the two. Maybe. I probably won't build 2 clocks because that's really expensive, by the way. The movement and Clockworks. Hello. I don't know if you guys have ever priced that stuff out, but at least what I was looking at today is going to run minimally about $700 for the Clockworks. So be ready for that. So if I do anything, it'll be building one of them. But if it's easy to kind of go between the two, I might do something to show that. At the very least, we could certainly sketch it out so that you have 2 plans that you could reference if you wanted to do one or the other, but I'll look into it. Jason, I have not either. I have a Fitbit just for exercise purposes. I have not bought into the Apple Watch yet. Part of what I like about the Fitbit is just incredibly simple and only does that thing. As soon as my watch starts to do a bunch of the phone functionality and app functionality, it might be a little more of a distraction than I truly want on my arm at all times. But that said, I am also an Apple guy and tend to buy whatever they make because I'm an idiot. And I will probably wait for version 2. I don't think that version 1 is all that, it's not much to get excited about. So I'm anxious to see if they can make some changes in version 2 that would make it more interesting. And I do need it to work really well as a fitness device. And the fact that it has to tie into the phone so much is not as useful as a full-on, GPS independent, thing that doesn't rely on my phone at all. Oh, Sean was joking. I get it now. That was a stupid joke, Sean. Actually, it was pretty good, and I fell for it. Michael wants to know, where'd you end up with the survey on music in your videos? Wasn't that a survey on the Wood Whisperer site? I think it was, wasn't it? Or was that on Facebook? I don't remember where I did that survey. Either way, I think the take-home message was that the way I do it is the right way. Yeah, I can't seem to find it. Ideal length. No, I didn't do an official, so I can't remember where it was from. If I remember correctly, basically what it came down to is most people said that they like limited music, and I think what it came down to is a lot of them didn't. They were kind of answering it thinking I'm trying to remember exactly what the take-home message was there. Bottom line was most of them don't really notice the music that I do put into the videos, so it must not be loud enough to be a problem, is what it came down to. For me, if there's talking, the music has to be low, right? You want to hear the tools, you want to hear the talking, and maybe when in between words, if you hear a little bit of music, but you kind of have to strain to hear it, that's about the right volume. If I'm not talking at all and it's just a full voiceover, sure, bring the music up, but still bring it down below where a voice would have been, because no one wants, you go to those YouTube videos where the music is just ridiculously loud, you can't even watch it. I still want people to be able to hear the tool noise, even if I'm not talking, So I, have sort of matured as an editor over the years to make that music at a volume I think that's fairly inoffensive. Yeah. Yeah, that's the funny thing is a lot of the music we use is just royalty-free stuff, Chris, or it comes with Apple software. So especially in the early days, it was all just Apple music, and everybody who was doing podcasts was generally doing it on Apple computers because they were kind of pushing the podcasting world forward. And it's since gotten a little bit better, but you will definitely hear classic Wood Whisperer music used on other people's videos. And it's like whoever gets there first owns it. And then everyone else is copying them. But in reality, we're all just kind of pulling from the same pool of music. Brian wants to know how I like the solar panels. Did I use Solar City? No, we used a company called Solar Tops with 2 Ps. And we love them. Our electric bill was like, I don't know, Nicole says it was like $300 or $400 a month. And after the solar panels, we basically are putting out about $200 a month. And it doesn't matter what season it is and how many air conditioners we have, we produce enough power to like pretty much continuously have our air conditioners in the house plus my air conditioners here in the shop. Yeah, Jay Bates' video tricks are phenomenal and fun. But I'm at the point with my time that I have available that I'm lucky to get a damn video posted with one of me in it, let alone having the time to edit a second one of me in my videos. So I will continue to enjoy watching Jay Bates make 2 of himself and focus on just making sure I get my butt in the shop. Oh, that's cool, Terry. Yeah, we've actually only had a couple theme songs. I haven't changed that very often. And even now, even though the intro has been completely whittled down to to match the short attention span world we live in, it's super short now, but I'm still using the same music. It just happens to even in shorter form be pretty appropriate for it. Yeah, the royalty-free music thing is just a giant pain in the butt. Even the stuff that we have completely legally paid for, these companies double dip. So they go to YouTube and just, basically put it into the system that these are copyrighted songs, and it's on me to prove that I bought them. And it's like, the system is so broken, because you could put a video out and have it held up for days to weeks while someone is putting a claim on it. And you have the legal right to use that content. So instead of them having to prove that I'm guilty, I'm guilty first, and I have to prove that I'm innocent. And that bugs the hell out of me. Tom's Tips, the live rendition. Tom's Tips. What? I don't remember the lyrics. I didn't say Tom's lips. I actually looked for that file. I can't believe it, but I think I deleted that. I was looking on my computer I use for podcasting, and I could not find that clip. So I think the only way I'm going to get it is to go to an old episode and just, copy it out of there. I mentioned it before, Jason. You might have missed it, about the new Powermatic tool. My hints were, I don't have one, and people refer to it with 3 letters. And that's all I'm going to say. It's up to you to figure it out. So it's so interesting, some of these things that happen behind the scenes with this stuff. So advertisers, I hope you guys don't mind a little inside baseball, but advertisers can target videos, right? You can target websites and content, even sort of making a unilateral choice there. As long as I allow them to, they can advertise against my content if they want to. Nicole just pointed out that on one of my which table saw should I buy videos, SawStop is targeting that video and doing like their scare tactic ads on that video, saying the ad says tomorrow, and it's all like black background with red letters. 160 people will suffer a serious table saw accident. Make sure you're not one of them. That's awesome. And she says, so how do we block them as an advertiser? I honestly don't care if they advertise against our videos. I think their methods are funny, though. Okay, Doug, 2 things. Number 1, I'm not that good on my drums. Like, I was always a mediocre drummer at best. I played all through late in high school and all through college, and made quite a bit of spare change. Getting through college playing the drums. I kind of was a decent utility drummer. I could get the job done in most cases, but I am not a drummer of any particular note. It's not necessarily something that anyone would enjoy listening to, which is why you'll probably never hear it. Maybe if I find some of my old stuff that I played when I'm actually we would go to a studio and record, I might send you something like that. But I think I would probably never play my drums live, especially not in a live stream like this, because it would be awful. And to tell you the truth, sound-wise, even if I were Neil Peart, or Pert, however you want to pronounce that, it would sound like crap through a lavalier microphone. Well, and the funny thing is we had Xcarve contact us, asking us to, promote their thingy, and I said no thanks. We've had Rockler with one. There's a new company that just contacted us recently asking if they could send us one. The truth be told, I'm not interested in CNC. I like it as a tool, but I like going to my buddy Ron, who has a CNC, and saying, hey, buddy, can you help me out with this? And he does stuff. It's a whole world of technology and maintenance and things to worry about. that I'm not that interested in it. I like being directly involved in that construction process, and CNC takes me out of that. So I'm not that interested in it. I respect it, I value it, I'm not interested in it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, because a lot of times with the Powermatic stuff, I do get my hands on this stuff. And they don't force me to do anything. If I don't want it, I don't have to. But I'm feeling a little bit more compelled to talk about it because it's from a long-time sponsor than some of these companies who are popping up going, hey, we made the cheapest CNC in the world. Want to try it? It works like crap, but you'll love it. It's like, no thanks. I have a feeling whatever they come out with is probably going to be pretty darn good as far as being like direct consumer market, but not as expensive as like traditional things that, shop bots and stuff like that. I don't know anything about it though, beyond that. Actually, I think I have some pictures and stuff, but we can't share them yet. Buddy Rich, some of the old Buddy Rich, talk about bad audio. Some of the old stuff, it's still phenomenal. Like as a drummer, you could watch him and you just know it's awesome, but the audio is pretty bad. Some of the Buddy Rich and Krupa videos are like that. Yeah, Tom, that was pretty neat. I didn't think about that. When I shared the video of the house, I'm like, this might be a little weird for people because, folks who've been with me for a long time in both the Guild and the Free site are watching this video, and every time you turn a corner, there's a project they've probably seen go together on the website, which I thought was kind of cool. I mean, I really do keep this stuff, most of it. You do the same thing through my mom's house, and it would be the same thing. The other half of my stuff I built is at her house. Michael wants to know what I made my bench tops from, the ones behind me. This is a double layup of MDF with a piece of maple to trim it out. And then I put a nice urethane finish on the top. Simple, inexpensive, it's MDF, so it's not that durable, but with a coat of finish on there for something like this, these are great. They hold up really nice. And it's just got a very muted look. It's not something that's supposed to grab your attention. But they're nice and heavy and dense because it's 2 layers of MDF. So highly recommend that as a just generic, cabinet top work surface. And by the way, you guys didn't hear that from me about that Powermatic thing. That's just between us. Yeah, Ron is going to be far away soon, but here's the thing. Ron, most of what he does for us is making templates and things that we sell in the store, and my mom isn't moving, at least not right away. So we'll still be able to have that relationship, but if I need a special template made, we're going to have to deal with shipping. That's not going to be fun. Chris asked an interesting question. Do you have any statistics on how many times the average guild member watches a video when building a project? No, I don't think I do. I have statistics on guild videos, but it's general, like watch statistics. It's not necessarily, I don't think it's as granular as that to be able to show me how many times a particular user has watched a video. I don't think we have that. But that would be cool. Now, shipping shouldn't be a problem, but some of those things are just awkwardly shaped and a pain in the butt to ship. If I could find a Denver Ron, that'd be great. Anyone know a Denver Ron? Who am I going to get to sweep the new shop? I know, right? The problems I'm going to have. Nick has watched the Rubo videos approximately Avogadro's number. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd? Is that it? Boy, it's been a long time since I had to recite that. Hey, have a great weekend, Daryl. Well, it's only Tuesday. Have a great week. Oh, good point, Jason. Mateo is at the age where he should be able to sweep up the shop. Guild member 45, he's got an old video on DVD. Is there any way to get the digital videos? Normally watch them on my tablet in the shop. Unfortunately, no. That's why we got rid of the DVDs, because they were creating too many problems. Email me. If you paid full price for it, fine. But there was a period of time where we were dumping those off with the Friday flash sales. So if you paid $5 for that, or $10, not going to happen. But if you bought it at full price and you want to get it in the guild, let's talk. I will be reasonable. Oh, Nick, man, that brings back memories of molarity calculations. Oy, where's my Texas Instruments calculator? Your 7-year-old sweeps up. Yeah, you know what? I have to see. He's a hard kid to motivate to do things like that. Like he's definitely at that self-interested stage, so it would have to be something he really values that he would get in return. Not just like a pat on the back from daddy. I don't think that would cut it. Oh, Mike Pekovich is there. Nice. That should be good. Mike seems like a nice guy. All right, I think we could probably wrap it up. Boy, hour and a half. I didn't expect to go that long. Trying to think. So, Grandfather Clock is the next project you'll be hearing a little bit about pretty soon as I get more information on it. But again, if you have any questions concerning the new setup, the new guild early bird specials being 4 projects instead of 3, hopefully you guys like my solution for that, and it's you see it as a fair solution to try to please as many people as possible. We can't please everybody, you know how that goes. But we always try to be fair and be, listen to what you guys want and try to accommodate what we need and what you're looking for out of the guild too. So hopefully we're able to hit that for you. If not, my apologies, but we do our best. Does the easy conversion to a mother-in-law suite come with the giant exhaust fan you recently installed? Yes, because as we know, mother-in-laws can't cook, right? So when they burn something, now they have a giant exhaust fan to pull all that smoke out of their new kitchen. The MDF is natural. It might have been, I might have gone with ultralight MDF on this. I can't remember. But I might have, and that might be one of the reasons why it's a lighter color. Alrighty. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. We'll do this again in a month, or roughly. We'll see. Because things could be very hectic for me in about a month. But we'll see how it goes. So thanks for your patience with all the little guild issues concerning the early bird bundle in the last couple of days. And thank you for your opinions on that, because it really helped us make what I think is the best decision for it. So have a wonderful evening. And don't hurt yourselves. Stay safe. Peace out, my friends.